Hello! First of all, thank you so much to the FMX for having me here. It's really a pleasure. My name is Ciara Borgards and I'm a visual effects and animation student at the IFS Filmschule Köln. Today I'm going to present to you my fourth semester project called Pirouette. It is a 3-minute long 3D animated short about the journey of a music box ballerina. The objective of the film was to tell the universal story of how, when you get stuck into a small and comfortable life, it sometimes takes a tragedy or a misfortune to make us move on, to break our routine in order to achieve our full potential. Especially nowadays, our world, my world, reduced itself to a house, my room, my 4 walls, and I started to settle for this comfortable life, and I noticed that I started to become afraid of the world outside. And that's why I decided to tell the story of a rigid, solid metal ballerina inside a music box who just turns around repeatedly on the same spot while being supported by a frame. And then I started to think, what would happen if this world of hers, this music box and the frame, would break, would fall apart? When designing the character for the film, I knew I wanted the character to consist of one solid material. At the beginning, I wasn't sure whether to use wood, metal, or something else. I knew it should be a rigid material. I also wanted the figure to be a bit abstract, but without losing its human-like mobility. And I knew I wanted her to have a lot of edges, but also dynamic lines running around her body to show her stiffness, yet her lightness and flexibility as well. I especially looked at a lot of statues and monuments for inspiration, and this is my first character design together with some facial expressions. However, when I moved to 3D, the character design changed a little bit as I wanted the lines on her body to be a little bit more consistent. I sculpted her in ZBrush and retopologized in Maya. When I started the rigging process, the asymmetry of the model quickly became an obstacle, so I needed to find a workaround. So I first modeled her as a symmetrical model in Maya. I then created a blend shape to assimilate the asymmetrical model, and with the help of a displacement map, I was able to recreate the desired look, and with that, I had a working rig. I created all the textures in Mari and Substance Painter, and for the metal texture of the ballerina, I went to bananas, and I took so many pictures of copper and metal statues during vacations at home. But once I understood the structure of old metal, I could play with it and stylize it a little bit. And that's why, for example, I used the patina on the ballerina as makeup to enhance and highlight some areas in her face. For example, I gave her an eyeliner, or I played around with her lips. Additionally, I knew that for the metal, I would need to have complete control over its reflecting edges as the light setup changes throughout the film. So in the shading, I created different metal materials with masks and combined them depending on the light situation. The film is divided mainly in 2 parts. A bright world where everything seems calm, and a dark, unknown one. The ballerina starts in this bright world, but suddenly the support of the ballerina starts to break, to fall apart, and the music box closes itself. The ballerina finds herself now in this new environment with nothing supporting her. She's now on her own for the first time. As I did not want to set the film in a specific room or location, I relied heavily on light to create the environment and the atmosphere. I therefore used a lot of volumetric lighting, and it was a mixture of Maya atmosphere volumes and volume rays composited in Nuke. Besides the light, the dark world also consists of a floor full of gears. Why gears, you may ask? Well, first, because it fitted the whole ballerina music box theme, and second of all, because gears have the power to look old, rusty, complicated, but at the same time, they are really aesthetically pleasing, and they make everything work at the end. And also in the film, they help the ballerina find her balance, and they teach her how to turn and do pirouettes. So for that, I modeled a set of gears, and it was really interesting to see that there is no rule on how gears can look like. So I just added a bunch of details, animated them first, duplicated them, and combined them in all sorts of combinations to create this mechanical floor. During the film, the metal ballerina finds herself on this floor full of gears, a place where she has never been, she doesn't want to be there, but now has to deal with this moving floor. So that was the trickiest part during the animation process, because I needed to figure out how it feels like to stand on a rotating platform. So I filmed many reference videos of me trying to imitate the movements of losing, finding balance, of tripping, of falling. And at the end of the film, we see the gears showing the infinite opportunities the ballerina has now after she was forced to get out of her comfort zone and overcame her fears. But that was it for me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again to the FMX. It's really a pleasure to be here. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me anytime.